With visual aids, you want to be clear on what you are trying to convey. So tables and figures should always complement, not replace, information. Every table and figure is discussed within the body of a written report, so you don't want to just leave the table or the figure hanging there without a discussion to go along with it. Again, it's used to complement information you've already presented. With the table, you're displaying raw data in a matrix, whether that's numerical or word information. Again, it's raw data displayed in a matrix. Let's take a look at numerical tables first. You can look at a frequency distribution with response tallies. That's one type of table. You can present ungrouped data or report every individual score. Then you can present grouped data. This is where you're combining values into a category and the number of responses reported into that category. Let's take a look at an example here. This is table 1, so we have the table numbered according to APA. And the name of the table is Demographic Characteristics of Respondents for Spring 2020. And it shows us there that our total sample size was 187 respondents, n equals 187. Then as we look further into the table, we're looking at the raw data where we know that we've got different things like sex and income labeled here as characteristics of our raw responses. So we're looking at a grouped sample here. And we say that because we're grouping all the males into the male category. So we get 80 males and 107 females of the 187 total. And then we have a percentage there, so that 80 males make up 43% of the total. And the same thing with the income. Of the people that marked 0 to 10,000, there was 63 of them, which makes up 34% of the total respondent pool. So some rules for creating grouped table categories. Usually you want to look at things that use between 3 and 8 categories, and make sure you use mutually exclusive categories. Here are some helpful tips for making tables. Number 1, you want to minimize the junk. Make sure you don't put any information on there that is not necessary. Number 2, number consecutively and insert into body of report immediately after they're referred to. So the first table you present is number 1, the second table you refer to is number 2, and so forth. And then what you want to do is make sure they appear as soon as possible after you've discussed them in your report. You want to create a title that conveys the content, notes the date, and total sample size. In this case, you want to have it italicized. So if we're looking at our previous example, you can notice we have the date, we have the title, the date, and we note the sample size in parentheses. We're going to use horizontal lines for sections to make it easy for the reader. We're going to give every row and column a heading, again to make it easy for the reader. We're going to limit the number of words wherever possible. If we have a table that's more than one page, we're going to repeat the headings on the second page. And if totals are shown, they should use whole numbers. If you're considering using a word table, you need to make sure you use it to summarize and present descriptive text or qualitative information. It's often used, or most commonly used, to summarize studies to provide definitions and stuff like that. Let's look at another example. Here we have a word table. As you can see, we've got the table numbered, table 2. We've got it labeled correctly with the topic, reported translational research focusing on older adults with a leisure/recreation component. We don't have a date here because the date is included below with our various things we're looking at, our citations. So while this is the first or a row of this table, there would be more. And then you can see we've got as very little wording as possible. We want to make sure that we're giving the information needed, but not adding any extra words or quote unquote junk. Sometimes you'll have a need to compress or condense group data in your tables. You'll want to find ways to merge similar answers. For qualitative, you want to look at similar or related answers and reduce them down to one category. An example of this would be if two people answer the reason why they exercise. And the first one is the quote unquote chill, and the second one is a quote unquote reduce stress. So we're putting those in a similar category of relaxation of some sort. With quantitative, if we look at age, right, and we ask everybody their age, and we've got 18 to 90, so we have got a ton of different answers in that range, we can collapse that into age ranges of 18 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and so forth.